good afternoon, my world of rogues. It's your girl, Erin Rogoff, ready to talk about books, because this is my booktube channel, and I love it to death. Today I want to be talking about Identical by Ellen Hopkins, which is a young adult fiction poetry novel, and there are a lot of trigger warnings for everything under the sun, so this is not a book for the lighthearted, or anyone who, can't deal with the stress of whatever this is. So anyway, starting with the summary, twin sisters Kaylee and Rayanne are the daughters of a district court judge father and a politician mother, and they deal with abuse of all kinds: child abuse, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, promiscuity, neglect, the negative works. And one must step up to protect the other, but the question is, which one will do it? Moving on to favorite characters, I had no favorite characters whatsoever, but I admired Ian for his total loyalty, devotion, and love for Kaylee. They belong together, but I don't think I could handle a sequel because there are a lot of triggers, and this is definitely not a book on my reread list at all. I loved it and I hated it, but I'll get to that later. Moving on to least favorite characters. Kaylee and Rayanne's father. He raped Kaylee, completely ignored Rayanne, cheated on his wife several times, burned everything that hinted in a trustworthy father, and isolated Kaylee and Rayanne from the whole world. And that's just the start of the list, and that makes me completely infuriated, and I'm trying not to blow up, but mentally I am blowing up just because I hate this so much. Moving on to my second least favorite character, Kaylee and Rayanne's mom. She ignored Kaylee and Rayanne's cries for help because it would be bad publicity for her career as a politician. She is a selfish bitch, buried her husband's affairs, bribed his horse to be quiet, and stuck her head in the sand when she knew, and do not tell me that she didn't know, that her husband was an incestuous pedophile, pretty much. Favorite scenes? I had no favorite scenes. But there were still, no likable characters in the book, or all that great scenes, but I loved the writing style anyway, and that was the same for Crank, Glass, and Fallout, which were also by Ellen Hopkins. And even though those are dark books too, technically, I still have nothing bad to say about them. I mean, I loved them, but I hated Identical. Oh my gosh. Moving on to least favorite scenes. I hated any time when Kaylee and Rayanne's father was alone with Kaylee. The kitchen scene with the father-daughter kiss was sickening to think about, and Kaylee's mom entered the room saying nothing and denying everything. And I was pretty much crying when I read that scene. And then I also hated when Kaylee was in the hospital and her dad wanted to see her, and Carol, the psychotherapist, was at the rescue, finally, and then Kaylee's epiphany, which is the realization of truth, that made sense why Kaylee and Rayanne didn't have many scenes together. It kind of reminded me of M. Night Shyamalan's movie Split, starring James McAvoy. I know I'm saying that wrong, but my mom and I watch that movie every other week for movie night. But anyway, moving on to ratings. The online rating on Goodreads is 4.3 out of 5 stars. And even though I hated Identical, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. And moving on to opinions, quite honestly, this book is one of, if not the hardest book I have ever read in my life, dark poetry based or otherwise. And I felt like crying at some moments, screaming at others, and I wanted to climb into the book and hug Kaylee and Rayanne, go find their parents, and go total psychopath on them. I'd punch Kaylee and Rayanne's mom till her face wasn't pretty, and then I would beat up their dad until he was broken and useless. And that's just putting it lightly. Yes, I can go psycho sometimes. Anyway, I have known all sorts of people who have gone through physical, mental, emotional abuse, people who have been addicted to sex and drugs and alcohol, and it hurts me to see them in pain. And my mom says that's empathy, and I feel extremely protective of them and my friends. I don't even know how to explain it really. But to note to all who have experienced what Kaylee and Rayanne have went through, it's horrific what you've gone through, and it isn't your fault. Even if somebody says it's your fault, it isn't your fault. And it's so terrifying to stand up for yourself against your abuser, but you will claim that power that they stole from you, and you will be safe. I implore you to tell the police, tell someone, anyone who will listen, because there will be people who will listen to you. And I'm going to end the video there because this is getting too stressful for me anyway. So if you like this video, subscribe to my booktube channel to get more videos like this, or less videos like this. And I hope you have a good day and be less stressed than I am right now. Anyway, have a great day, everyone.